okay? But it's patch day, and we cannot not talk about this patch. 1.3.3 has got to be the biggest patch we've had in a very long time. Arguably even bigger than the last one a month and a half ago that really shook out the balance. So for starters, we have a new Mecha Absa mid-month bundle. You know, your standard $20 bundle with the 25,000 coins, 250 Aether Bucks, all of that stuff. If you're going to purchase this skin or the Reno Riptide skin, be sure to use code WATH. Please and thank you. Hashtag ad. All right. But yeah, definitely support the tournament, support the devs. You know, they do great work. There's also some other palettes for the Edalus and Crag mecha skins, as well as some for Clarin and Raster. So that's already pretty good. Now we're going to talk about like the really important stuff, right? Also, right, Collision is going to be running on the previous build, so not this one. But overall, so they say the overhead HUD will now be centered on the character's origin instead of following their model. So it'll be easier to tell when an attack will reverse hit. Now, I think that's really interesting because I've never looked at anything like that to determine whether I was going to get reverse hit or not. I would just be looking at the enemy character model. So I don't know. It's interesting that they intend for you to use this to determine if you're going to get reverse hit or not. The jump speed horizontal max joystick influence multiplier from 0.5 to 0.25. This reduces the amount of speed you can lose by holding backwards during a dash jump, making it harder to do retreating aerials after running towards the opponent. So I know how they say it's like a negative framing, but I think this actually is going to make doing reverse aerial rushes significantly easier. Because it was just, sometimes you would just not have the movement that you wanted doing that. And it was a little bit inconsistent. So it's cool that this is, you know, this is happening. Slightly decreases the maximum horizontal speed you can get when doing a stationary jump, like jumping out of shield. It does not affect the momentum of a forward jump while dashing and running. That makes sense. Pivoting during dash will now retain 20% of your momentum. That's really interesting, because previously this would only happen, or something like this, I don't know the exact percent value, but this would only happen during your run, which happens after your dash, to be clear, right? So after the plume of smoke, let me just demonstrate that, right? When you have this smoke, right, that's your dash, but after that it's your run. So, all right, where were we? Dashing will no longer clear your horizontal speed before applying your dash speed. This makes dash speed retain some of your previous momentum. Combined with a pivot momentum change, this makes dash dancing take a bit longer to accelerate in the other direction. Your dash cannot be slowed down by more than 50%, regardless of your previous momentum. This also means that your dash can no longer slow you down, which could happen previously if you were moving faster than your dash speed before dashing. That's kind of interesting that dash dancing got a nerf. Very interesting. Fix a bug where inputting an invalid attack will prevent certain other attacks. Cool. Grounded spikes, like aerial spikes, will also receive a tumble threshold adjustment with a minimum multiplier of 0.875. Grounded spikes will start descending into tumble a bit earlier. Okay, yeah, so that's actually really important too, right? Because you used to be able to, you know, do other guaranteed hits off of that flinch, but if it's going to send it to tumble, that means they have a chance to tech it sooner. So very important change for high-level play. Ledge canceling an attack will now always cancel parry stun, regardless of whether they entered parry stun yet or not. I need to kind of see this in action because I kind of thought this is how it already worked, to be honest with you. But it's good that they're making that more consistent. A 10-frame ledge grab lockout timer is now applied when non-tumble hit stun states end. This would help prevent the ledge from getting stolen when hitting the opponent with a weak recovery move like Raster or Abs' up special. Yeah. So this would happen when, like, if you were at the ledge just standing, not CCing, not crouching, just standing, and Raster up-eat and you were holding in, you could grab the ledge before him. It's something I've actually done in bracket before. I don't have the link pulled up for that, but I've done it in bracket. So that's a good fix. That's good. Floor hugging now requires your left joystick's Y value to be below horizontal. This makes floor hugging more committal since you can't just hold the right stick downward while being able to still get good DI anymore, which was a problem with specific control schemes that were able to hold the right stick down while doing other actions too easily. So, chat, I gotta admit, I didn't know that you could floor hug with the right stick. I thought the right stick was only for the SSDI. So, seeing that they're making it basically the way that I've already always done it kind of concerns me that we're not seeing any other changes to floor hugging, because floor hugging, in my opinion, was still too powerful, even though I already did it this way. So, I don't know. I hope that's something we don't have to wait another month and a half for to see some actual changes, because there's still plenty of interactions in the game that are objectively broken from the floor hugging changes. Air friction will no longer be applied while air dodging. This causes air dodge to gain less horizontal distance than intended. Okay, so I think this is a buff to everyone's recovery. Characters that get their shield broken will now be fully inactionable until they hit the ground. This increases the reward for successfully breaking a shield. If there's no ground below them, they will plummet all the way to the blast zone. Yep, as it should be. Jump buttons will now be cleared when full hopping, short hopping. This fixes a bug that allowed players to buffer a frame-perfect double jump when pressing 3 different jump buttons during a jump squat. Yeah, so what's interesting about this is that you actually used to be able to do this with just 2 jump buttons. And then I guess they didn't patch it with 3 jump buttons, and then now it's patched again. I'm kind of curious if you were to make like a 4 jump button, if it would still happen. I might do that for science, just to see. Articles that spawn on the ground will now prioritize escaping the ground backward instead of upward if they have horizontal velocity. Prevents certain projectiles from teleporting upward when they spawn below the ledge. Sure, that's good. The side blast zones will now expand by 1 meter for characters who are not in hit stun, just like the bottom blast zone. This makes moves that carry the opponent into the blast zone consistently KO the opponent before the attacker. It also has the side effect of preventing situations where you buffer a special move out of hit stun and the residual horizontal knockback velocity carries you into the blast zone when a double jump towards stage would have saved you by counteracting the knockback velocity. That, I think, is going to be really big for Reynos. That's huge. Taunts can now be canceled into the teeter state. That's cool. I like that. All right. Time for actual balance changes for the characters, not just general engine changes. Raster. Forward special air friction, 0.36 to 0.15. This lets Raster use this move in the air without losing quite as much speed. Ledge attack will now lose its intangibility after the first active window instead of the second active window. This better offsets the strength of the ledge attack and makes it consistent with the other 2-hit ledge attacks like Orcanes. Sure. Crag. Pillar's rising hitbox is lowered 30 centimeters, and we can see that visual here. Pretty noticeable. This makes it a little less risky for opponents to punish Pillar from above, as it would frequently clip their feet from far below. Hitting Pillar with an article that is attached to a player, declaring neutral special, will now restore their wall jump. Ooh, that's interesting. Wow. Yeah, I didn't know that. Actually, I'm going to share that right now with some people. All right, moving on. Maple. As the fastest character in the game, Maple excels at both offense and defense. This patch aims to tone down some of her outstanding strengths, such as her ability to wall out with forward tilt, her ease of keeping opponents marked, and her uncharacteristically strong recovery. Even after these changes, we expect she will still sit high up on tier lists, as the versatility of her core design makes her power level quite resilient. We are also giving Terry a few changes to make him a bit more useful in her kit. So let's get into it. Forearms hurt boxes expanded slightly to cover her hands more. This makes some of her leaf blade attacks a little bit less disjointed. Air acceleration reduced from 0.8 to 0.7. That's really big. This adds more commitment to her incredibly fast approaches, since she has the highest airspeed in the game. And I think the fastest ground speed too. Grabbing Maple will now remove her mark from you. Incredible level of counterplay right here. You don't just need a parry or a pummel now. This only applies if the mark came from the Maple you grabbed. That's important to note for doubles, right? This gives players a more consistent way to remove marks, since it's easy to apply with Neutral Special. Neutral Special Seed can no longer break projectiles. This creates more counterplay to Maple tossing seeds, often in neutral. Yeah, so this is also really big for Reno. I think this, you know, you're going to be able to just throw that. Also, Crag, same kind of deal. You know, Zetterburn, same thing. That's really big, actually. Forward special hitboxes shrunk and moved backwards, reducing the disjoint. As you can see here, chat, this is a really big nerf. I don't know. This thing's definitely not going to hit like from above as much. It's definitely way more in line with the visual, which I like. Aerial down special knockback has been reduced to 8. No, I'm sorry. This has been buffed. It went from 8 plus 0.3 at 90 to 8 plus 0.5 at 80. So they changed the angle of it. It's not going to go directly up anymore. This increased knockback ceiling helps to prevent looping this move repeatedly on fast fallers, while the lower angle DI, the lower angle allows DI to be more effective. Yeah, so there was a Twitter clip that circulated where a Maple just kept jump down B, jump down B, jump down B, and they removed that. That's like the second time they've changed this move too. So yeah, Terry damage 3 to 5% makes sense. 7 plus 0.3 at 60 to 7 plus 0.4 at 50. This increases the utility of Terry's attack both when spawned and when swatting a seed away. Terry's seed detection radius has gone up from 40 to 65. Yeah, so you can see that here, right? It's a big circle. Yeah, way more lenient. All forward tilt hitboxes radius from 50 to 40 centimeters. They didn't include that here, but it is centimeters. This reduces the range of the disjoint of the move slightly in all directions. This has incredible implications. This is not going to be as good of an anti-air or a, you know, a ledge stopper. You know, yeah. Yeah, this is exactly what I was talking about. Like, look how powerful that was before. You could cover so much space, and now like there's clearly a pocket where you can still snap here if they're this close to the ledge. Now, granted, it still goes that far down, so if Maple stands like here-ish, I bet you could still hit it, right? Because this is what, like 2 blocks ahead from the back foot, so maybe you stand, I don't know, here-ish, and you'll hit it. It's still possible, but it's going to be a little more precise, right? Down angle or full tilt animation changed slightly so it doesn't hit as low. Along with the hurt box shrinking, this reduces potency at the ledge. Forward tilt recovery, 17 to 19. We want to make this move slightly riskier to throw out in neutral. Hell yeah. Especially since that led to so many kills. Neutral air early hit knockback. That went from 7 plus 0.5 at 45 to 6 plus 0.58 at 50. It makes the move slightly worse after tether to KO off the side. It also makes the mix of neutral air slash up air after tethering to an opponent more viable, since inward DI will send more upward, allowing it to KO off with the top better if when the opponent guesses wrong. Neutral air late hit. Oh my god, I can't speak. Neutral air late hit, okay? That went from 5 plus 0.3 at 45 to 4.25 plus 0.48 at 50, right? So it always is going to send at 50, right? The difference is how much knockback you have, early or late. Neutral air recovery, 12 to 15. Yeah, that move was crazy. You were able to spam that 3 times in the air in a combo. You can't do that anymore. Small increase to the commitment. Hell yeah. We needed that. Forward air knockback angle, 320 to 3.25. The intent is to make DI out more effective at avoiding follow-ups, such as another forward air. So yeah, they didn't like forward air. I feel like Lone made this possible, this nerf right here. Shout out to Lone. Forward air innermost hitbox radius, 50 centimeters to 35 centimeters. So yeah, as we can see, right, it was this one, and that's been shrunk a lot. This also, I think, affects, like, this is like the reverse hit. Reverse hit's going to be a lot harder to hit. Yeah, the backward range of the move. Up air. Body hitbox radius from 80 to 60 centimeters, dude. That's 20% of the move. Look at this. That's incredible. Such a sizable nerf right here. Decreases the effectiveness of this move when the opponent is below maple, while not really changing anything if they're not. Ledge attack will now loses intangibility after the first active window. Yep, same thing like the other one. Okay. Clarin. We're cleaning up a few of our tippers that can be frustrating for our opponents, such as forward tilt, up tilt, forward air, as well as some that can be frustrating for Clarin, like forward strong. We're also changing the functionality of early hits of down air so that she has to space the move more precisely in order to spike the opponent. This patch also addresses her forward special being a bit too hard to intercept while also being difficult to punish on whiff. Here we go, chat. Smile. Sending a crouching opponent into flinch with a tipper will no longer apply tipper stun. That's incredible. Forward special intangibility starts on frame 16 from 10. Also incredible. Way more ability to catch Clarin in the startup of that move. Forward special grounded recovery on whiff. 25 to 30 frames. Forward special land on whiff duration. 15 to 24. Sorry. That's so big. That's so big. Extra 10 frames. Like, actually incredible. So to be clear, this is the aerial version. So if you do it from the air, it'll be 6 frames less laggy. And if you do it on the ground, you have half a second to punish them. Up special will no longer cut Clarin's horizontal velocity in half when she lands. This makes it a bit easier to do ledge cancel her up special. Yeah, and I saw a clip from Bowler actually where he was able to do that pretty easily. You kind of do it like almost like a hack stash kind of movement with it, which is pretty cool. Down special's plasma field will now be destroyed when Clarin is KO'd. Honestly, it always should have been this way. It always should have been this way. Think about like Forsburn Smoke or any of the other stuff. Like it goes away. Lead special hit 1 pause multiplier against grounded opponents from 1.2 to 1.4. This makes hit 2 less likely to whiff against super floaty characters like Absa. That's fine. This also gives you more time to DI, by the way, when you're in hit pause. So this is kind of a big deal. Also, YBM, yeah, it doesn't reset on death, but anytime you hit Raster, it goes away. So, I don't know. There's kind of like other built-in counterplay to that. I don't know if that's strictly speaking necessary. I don't know that that's a problem. Forward tilt tipper removed on the first active frame. Right, so let's take a look at that, right? 1.32. This blue one here was the tipper. That is gone. Right? And then you have this. And that's still there, but this isn't here. Which is good. This tipper was positioned in a way that was only really used for hitting opponents below/behind Clarin, which led to some awkward tipper interactions. Up tilt tipper hitbox radius from 50 to 35 centimeters, and it was moved 15 centimeters outward to preserve its range. I don't know if we needed to do that, but I'm glad that the tipper is smaller. I think that's going to be really massive. This reduces the downward range on the first and last active frames. So you can't hit the ledge anymore, right? Up till animation changed so that the first and last active frames don't hit as low. Up till innermost sour spot, radius 50 to 40 centimeters, hitbox moved 30 centimeters down her arm. This makes the hitbox move her arm instead of staying stationary on her shoulder, decreasing the inward range of the move, especially during the first and last few active frames. So let's take a look, chat. As you can see, it used to be like super like overarching, right? But now it's less, right? This tipper is way smaller, right? This is smaller, more sour spot. Same thing over here. You know, look at how far below this was hitting below the line here. It doesn't do that at all. So there's not going to be any tippers below the ledge anymore. That's gone. Or below platforms, right? Gone. Up till first 3 frames now send at 72 degrees, whereas the last 4 frames send at 77. Okay, so let's try and visualize this for a second, okay? Vertical is 90 degrees, right? And so 75 would be like at the horizontal, the way, you know, the elbow is. So the first 3 frames send a little bit, you know, closer, right? So DIing in on that, you're going to go more straight up. And the last 4 frames, if you're DIing out, you're going to really, you know, get away a little bit. Wait, hold on. Did I just say that wrong? Last 4 frames sent at 77. No, that's more straight up. So yeah, getting hit in the beginning of it is better to DI out. My bad. Yeah. Yeah, so they changed the way you kind of need to DI this move depending on whether you're getting the first hit or the late hit. That's going to take some new muscle memory. Like, I got to play against that. Forward strong sour spot hitbox moves slightly backward on the second active and after. Forward strong second active frames tipper now reaches slightly further inward. So they fixed some inconsistencies with that. Forward strong's tipper and outer sour spot moved inward by 10 centimeters at the bottom of the swing. This makes the hitboxes almost straight downward for the previous active frame. Again, just making it more consistent, right? If you look at how this was before, you know, you're clearly like cutting inwards, but now it's like, it's where it was. So, I mean, yeah, that's fine. Consistency is better, not just for Claren, but it's better for the opponent, right? You know what hitbox you're going to get hit by. And it matches the visuals better. Forward strong sour spot knockback, 7 plus 0.75 to 6.5 plus 0.825. So that is more scaling, but less base knockback. And then the down strong sour spot, the knockback growth on that was increased from 0.85 to 0.925. These sour spots often felt overly weak at extremely high percent, so we're increasing the scaling a bit. I don't know that move needed a buff, but they did it. Neutral air recovery, 15 to 17. Slight increase in end lag to make comboing after it a bit tighter. I love that. I love that. Excuse me. Forward air innermost hitbox radius from 50 to 35 centimeters for both hits, reducing the range backwards slightly. So yeah, that's pretty noticeable. Pretty noticeable. Forward air hit 1 sour spot, knockback angle from 82 to 72. So yeah, DIing out is going to be a little more effective, right? Less likely for DI in to result in hit 2 reversing as well. So that's good. Yo, what's going on, Bast? Yeah, we already read the maple section. Where was I? Yeah, forward air hit 2 sour spot, 6.035, was buffed to 6.055. Slight increase in scaling so it doesn't combo for free at extremely high percents. Forward airs in reverse tippers are now regular sour spots, not tippers. Right? You can see that here. That's amazing. Oh my god. That's so nice. Forward air 2 innermost sour spot now is the same knockback as the other supports. Sorry, other supports. The other sour spots. Oh my god. I've worked a long day, chat. Bear with me. Previously, the innermost sour spot sent at a higher angle than the other sour spots, making it better at comboing. Up air sour spot knockback. That went from 7 plus 0.45 at 80 to 5.6 plus 0.7 at 75. Right? So, up air sour spot hit stun multiplier went from 0.9 to 1.0. This increased the knockback at higher percents while also increasing the effectiveness of DIOA. The lower knockback angle also lets us remove the hit stun multiplier on the move, since it won't be as good at comboing into itself. Bowler, what's going on? Not gonna lie, the up air change might have been accidentally a buff. People have been cooking with it. Really? That's interesting. That's interesting. I need to play against it. I haven't played any games yet on the new patch. I'm still going through all the patch notes for the YouTube video. Remove the first active frame of down air, increasing the starter from 15 to 16. The first new active frame is a sour spot that stretches upward to the same range as the previous first active frame. With this change, she will be mostly unable to spike an opponent above her, and she will instead get a sour spot hit. Yeah, I mean, I feel like this is just a timing thing. I don't know. Like, this doesn't... I feel like this doesn't fully remove the ability to do that. You know what I mean? Like, you just have to time it better. But that doesn't mean Dare wasn't nerfed, right? Dare early body sour spot move more behind Clarin, 50 to 55, right? Sour spot is bigger, right? That's that circle. That makes down air function like normal tipper move, instead of giving tippers higher priority, making her have to space more horizontally to get the early tipper. I love that. I love that. That move, honestly, before this patch was easier to hit the tipper than not to. So, you know, I think it's an important thing where, you know, you feel like your opponent is actually like working hard for what they're doing, right? All right, it's time for Arcane. It's time for Arcane. Oh, so chat, we're only like halfway, so let's keep going. Arcane's unorthodox hit can make him difficult to pilot. His fast movement, quick normal, strong zoning tools, and top-tier recovery made him a clear contender for the strongest rival. With all these strengths, he started to lose his identity and falls back to basic fundamentals instead, which isn't what we envisioned for our slippery whale dog. To remedy this, we're toning down his burst movement speed and recovery, while also removing some of the mechanics that make his zoning tools a bit too risky. Okay, this is big, chat. Dash speed, 19.8 to 16. Max horizontal jump speed, 19.8 to 16. That's so crazy. Short hop speed, 17 to 18.4, right? So this increases the height of his short hop by 18 centimeters. Bubble spawn locations are no longer random and instead spawn using a preset pattern. However, they also hit you 3 frames faster, right? So it's going to be harder to parry and all that kind of stuff. Bubble hit pause went from 4 to 3, so people aren't trapped for too long. Getting hit by a bubble will now put a parry on a 10-frame cooldown. Now, chat, as far as I know, this is the only thing in the game that puts your parry on a cooldown. It's really interesting that they even did this, right? So yeah, if you get hit by bubbles, like, yeah, you can't parry for, you know, a good amount of time there. Bubbles will now be destroyed when Arcane is hit. That's kind of like Raster with Slipstream deactivating. That's kind of interesting. Puddle will now turn into a falling droplet when ground beneath it disappears, reforming into a puddle upon landing, right? So this is like if you're on Jules Vale, right? And you're on the top platform, and then it would go away, and then the puddle would... Now it's going to just drop, right? Arcane recovery nerfs are very noticeable. You can hit his side B a lot. Yeah, good. Good. Forward special can no longer fast fall until it enters the special fall window. I'm not going to lie, Chad. I thought they did this already the first time they changed that move, but I guess not. Forward special is no longer intangible during the travel frames. This is massive. This is massive. You can fully intercept Arcane now. Not just like early, but the entire time. Forward special, initial startup window length, 10 to 15, but the special travel frames went from 10 to 5. So the distance is unchanged. Keeps the timing of the attack the same, but minimizes the time that Arcane spends traveling, making intercepting it a bit more difficult. Makes sense since they nerfed it pretty substantially. Up special can no longer fast fall until it enters the special fall window. Again, I thought we did this already, but I'm glad that it's here. This happened to all the other characters, that have been nerfed really so far. So this is good. Up special, cancel landing lag, 22 to 30. I love this. More opportunity for punishing Arcane after forcing him to recover on stage. Again, chat, that's half a second you get to punish this. That's so big. Orca Hop max vertical speed will now decrease by 3 centimeters a frame with each use until Arcane touches the ground or grabs the ledge, with a minimum of 20 centimeters a frame. The max is 35 centimeters a frame. Yeah, so if you hit him a bunch, it'll go down from 35 to 20, worst case, right? But yeah, I mean, you can actually intercept Arcane now. Forward tilts head hurt box is intangible on frame 5 until the first recovery frames. This makes the startup harder to interrupt from a long range. Up tilt center hitbox radius from 60 to 50 centimeters. The sides down from 60 to 40. Chat, let's look at this. Look at how much less that's going to be just hitting all sorts of random stuff. Like that's going to be so wonderful. That move always felt a little too free to me, to be honest. Down tilt sweet spot knockback went from 7.5 plus 0.4 at 75 to 6.5 plus 0.5 at 72. So dying out is going to matter, right? But it will get stronger around 84%. Forward strong recovery, 26 to 30. Empowered forward strong recovery, 32 to 34. Neutral air cooldown on bounce, 2 to 3. At some point, it became possible to chain neutral air bounces together. This is not intended. So we're extending the cooldown by 1 frame to prevent it. So yeah, this kind of reduces his shine pressure on shield. Forward air's horizontal speed will be clamped to Arcane's max horizontal airspeed when it hits a shield. This increases the reward for shielding this move. Up air sour spot knockback angle, 70 to 75. So yeah, DIing out helps you escape up airs. That's fantastic. Up air spike hitbox now is an early hitbox with knockback 5 plus 0.4 to 6 plus 0.5 during the first 2 frames. So yeah, in the very beginning of the move, you're going to be able to do a stronger spike. And then the late hitbox of the up air is going to go down to 4.5 plus 0.4. So yeah, they really want you to do it early. Forward throw knockback, 9 plus 0.55 to 9 plus 0.6. And empowered forward throw to 10 plus 0.7 to 10 plus 0.75. I'm not going to lie, chat. I think this is way too strong. Nothing should have a thing of 10. Not for even an empowered throw. I think this is way too much. I don't know. I'm a bit of a hater when it comes to things like that. I genuinely think, a knockback of so let's put this in perspective, right? Pre-nerf Raster, like original release Raster, his up B had a 9.0 base knockback. And I think people who played this game in the beginning will remember just how strong that was, right? That's an insane level of power to have on any move. And so that really should be for moves that are like a Falcon Punch level of startup, right? Where it's really your fault. I don't like that this kind of move has this level of power. I think that's a mistake. Yeah, I would not be surprised if that gets toned down in the future, to be honest. as well as every other move that's currently sitting at a 9.0 base knockback. Get Up Special's furthest tail hitbox will now come out 2 frames later. All right, chat. We still have Aeolus and Olympia to go, and then Absa. So we're getting there. We're getting there. Aeolus has received a plethora of buffs and quality of life changes since its initial release, putting him in a very solid spot amongst the cast. We got a few more of those to go around, but we also want to address some of the more over-centralizing moves, such as down air, down tilt, as well as lowering his air's acceleration. This allowed him to play a little too safe with his offense, like a lot of other recently changed characters. His recovery is also getting a form of diminishing return so that opponents are rewarded more for intercepting him. Okay, so let's get into it. Knockback velocity will now decay at a normal rate when on ice. Previously, he would maintain too much horizontal momentum after teching, which could lead him to slipping off a ledge in unexpected cases. All right, cool. Air acceleration down from 0.85 to 0.75. Very noticeable. This reduces the effectiveness of approaching with an aerial and then retreating to make it safe. His air acceleration is still 0.85 during Up Special's launch window. His ice armor has gone up from 150 to 180. I think that's going to make this mechanic actually like worth going for. Forward special cooldown from 75 to 100. So that's like almost 2 seconds. It's a little less than 2 seconds. This decreases the effectiveness of repeated forward specials when edge guarding opponents. That was his best strength, Aeolus, in my opinion. So the fact that that's getting toned down is going to help out the rest of the cast. Up Special's maximum charge time will now decrease by 5 frames for each use until Aeolus touches the ground. This rewards opponents for intercepting his recovery. The usage count will only go up when he actually launches himself upward, so he won't get penalized for getting hit during startup or canceling it. That makes sense. I'm glad that this exists, though. We're not going to have to hit Aeolus 15, 16 times, to finally, get the kill, right? Like, this is going to really set up for some good situations. Losing ice armor during Up Special will now also remove his super armor. Special pummel knockback against aerial opponents. 1 plus 0.0 to 4 plus 0.03. This makes it more rewarding for Aeolus when the opponent happens to slide off stage after activating his special pummel. Yeah, you better make sure you're holding B now. It used to not really matter, but now it does. Hold B. Jab 2 speed boost now happens 1 frame earlier. This makes tilt boosting consistently give the speed boost instead of going nowhere when performed as early as possible. Early as possibly, they wrote. Jab 3 sour spot knockback. 5 plus 0.25 at 65 to 5 plus 0.45 at 55. So yeah, DI out is going to be more effective. The sour spot was extremely bad on hit. We're making it a little better, so Aeolus isn't punished as hard for landing it. His head and chest hurt boxes are now projectile intangible during dash attacks active frames. This change prevents some specific situations where projectiles could go over his projectile killer hitbox and hit his back. Okay. I don't know if he really should have protection here. I don't know. Dash attack's one of those moves, chat, where I still would like them to change it. I would like them to give him wave dashing back to add a dash attack. However, I don't think it should be immune to projectiles, and I don't think it should be jump cancelable on shield anymore. I don't know if it'll ever happen, but that's my wish list. I don't think dash attack's in the place that it really should be right now. Forward tilt once back hitbox knockback 4.0 to 6 plus 0. Right? This should make it more consistent link into F tilt 2. That's fine. Down tilt part 2 recovery 16 to 20. Way more lag on that, so you actually get to hit him. That's good. Up strong now is a small hitbox at the center of his body on the first active frame. So this should hit the small characters. Excuse me. Back air active frames 3 to 4. Matches the visual better. a bit more coverage. And the recovery frames were adjusted to keep the same interrupt as soon as actionable frames. Down air recovery frames 21 to 24. Little bit of commitment when using this move off stage. Down air landing lag 12 to 14. This move was pretty safe to throw out with its large hitboxes and long active frames, unique momentum stall, and incredible reward on hit. So we're adding a bit of landing lag to tone it down. Really interested to see how Daedalus plays now. Not gonna lie. All right, chat, we're almost there. It's time for Olympia. Olympia's combo game is extremely strong, especially with the consistency of her up special as a finisher. With that, while that is a core part of our design, we want to make sure our combos don't become stale, so we're making a few changes that give opponents more agency when launched by some of her more potent combo moves, such as down tilt, up air, and up throw. We've also noticed that the strength of her gem toss as a neutral tool disincentivizes her from having gem field deployed, so we're toning down gem toss to balance out its utility a bit more. So gem toss startup went from 8 to 11. This makes it slightly more reactable and neutral at medium to long ranges. Gem toss damage 5 to 4%. Gem toss knockback 4 plus 0.1 to 3.5 plus 0.1. Gem toss base knockback will now decay from 3.5 to 2 throughout its active window. So that means it's going to start at 3.5 and then it's going to travel to 2. This makes having our gem field deployed less of a detriment to our general game plan, since the projectile is less rewarding on hit. Gem dash traveling hitbox removed backwards. This reduces the disjoint of the move, allowing it to be intercepted easier. Chat, neutral skip is dead. Thank God. Neutral skip is dead. Forward special front hitbox removed. This reduces the disjoint of the move, allowing it to be intercepted easier. Yep, we can see that. That's pretty big. Forward special goes on cooldown for 50 frames on startup. This prevents ledge refreshes when repeated forward specials without affecting other general use cases. Yeah, that's really cool. I had a feeling they were going to patch that when that became widely known by Sandstorm. Up special multi-hit hitboxes no longer interpolate. This makes them less disjointed from below. A special final hit back hitbox removed. The hitbox was unnecessary for linking well and just ended up causing unexpected hits against opponents trying to punish it instead. So yeah, if you notice, this is gone. It's just this. Up special startup 7 to 10. Right, it's going to be a little harder to combo into. A special final hit knockback. It went from 7 plus 0.85 to 7 plus 0.82, lowering the knockback scaling so that it skills slightly later. Down special's armored window will now fall faster with each use, reaching normal max fall speed on the third use. So that's pretty aggressive on its scaling. Dash attack recovery 21 to 25. Hell yeah. Forward tilt now is a late hit for the last 3 active frames, with knockback 5.5 plus 0.85 at 40 to 3.5 plus 0.85 at 45. Yeah, so it's going to send in a little bit more, but that late hit is not going to kill anywhere near as much. Forward tilt hit pause multiplier 1.0 to 1.2. This means you're going to have more time to DI. Down tilt knockback angle 80 to 75. The DI out's going to be more effective on down tilt. Neutral air hit 2 went from 7 plus 0.6 to 5.5 plus 0.7. That's actually such an incredible nerf. I'm pretty sure that will affect neutral air 2's safeness on shield. It's not going to have a strong knockback into the multiplier calculation there. Our shield stun calculation. Up air early and mid hits, knockback angle 70 to 65. This makes down and away way more effective on the DI. Great change. I actually wanted them to do this exact change, so I got what I wanted there. Up the recovery 30 to 32. Slight decrease to the follow-ups after this extremely versatile throw. Perfect. I love that. Up special can no longer fast fall until it reaches the special fall window. Yep, standard. Forward tilt part 2 is now a real projectile instead of being a large physical hitbox. So that means that when you parry Absa's second second F tilt, I think she's going to get hit now instead of going into parry stun. But it also fixed it being able to break Crag's pillar. So that's pretty good. Down throw now ignores weights like all of the throws, and I didn't know that that was a thing. And pummeling an opponent would no longer detach Cloud after Absa sticks it to herself. All right, chat, we made it. 43 minutes later. Holy Lord. I'm excited, chat. I'm excited. Anyways, if you enjoyed this video, be sure to subscribe to the YouTube. Let me know in the comments what you think about the patch. And I hope to see you in game. All right, stay safe, stay elite.